always remember, guys, you were not born a winner and you were not born a loser. You were born a chooser. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Beckett. You can call me Dr. B. I'm going to be your teacher this year at our CB. This year is very different than any one we've ever known. It is not going to look the same, but I'm hoping in some ways that it will feel the same for you. We are practicing social distancing, wearing masks. All of these things will help keep everyone safe and hopefully make it so that we can have a normal school year next year. For this year, because of my age and some health conditions I have, I will not be physically in this classroom with you this year. I will be video conferencing with you. I have a very large computer in the front of my room that I can use to project everyone at one time, or I can send you a link and you can join our video conference through the link. We will not be using Zoom. We will be using Microsoft Teams, which is something that's approved for use by the school system. So this year, I'm very excited to be here, and I hope that this will all come around and the madness and chaos will subside. But I do want to let you know that I will be available for communication. You will have my email. You will have, I have set up a remind for each of my classes so that you can contact me privately through that way. We'll be using Schoology. Of course, we have the live grades. So there's going to be many ways for us to communicate, and since I will be having video conferences, I expect this year to, maybe if it doesn't look the same, I expect it to feel the same. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take you on a tour of our classroom and show you where things are. I'll show you a look at the schedule that we're going to be using for the first couple weeks of school. Since we're not sure what things are going to look like after that point, I'm not sure if that daily schedule will be effective for any longer than the first 2 weeks of school. Since I'm not going to be in the classroom physically, there will be an adult in here with you, a person that is called a paraprofessional. You will address them by Mr. or Mrs., whatever their last name is. I'm not sure yet. They haven't actually told me who's going to be here, but they're supposed to be here on the first day. So also I want you to know, if you're having any problems with anything in my class, if you need help one-on-one, we can do that. I can video conference with you one-on-one if needed. And some of the things we do this year, like in my business and marketing class, I'm going to be doing mock interviews with them, job interviews, and I will be doing those through video conferencing as well. So I'm totally accessible to you, and I want you to contact me if you have any questions about anything. So let's get ready for the tour of our classroom. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you where our classroom is. We are on the second floor, first base, off the elevator. You can see the custodians are still doing some work. This is the way that you will go when we have a fire drill. You will leave our room, which is right there. You'll walk down the steps all the way to the first floor, and you will go out the exterior door. It lets you out right in front of the office doors, right in front of the school. So that's the way you'll go for your fire drills. Okay, this is our room. And also for the fire drill, make sure you take the flag. Someone in the class should take the flag. And I want to show you the schedule for the restart of school, if you can see that. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. All right. So our room is a computer lab basically, And it starts here with the codes, the emergency codes and what to do. Here's the instructions for if you have COVID, no symptoms, proceed. Exposure, you've been exposed, but you don't have symptoms, you cannot go to school. You have to quarantine at home. If you have been diagnosed as having COVID but are having no symptoms, you still cannot go to school. If you have at least one symptom listed under number 4, you also cannot go to school. Okay, this is some hand sanitizer for you to use whenever you would like to do that. If you're going to be using the computers, I suggest that you use it, at least coming in and going out. Okay guys, at the end of every class, I do want you to sign out of Windows, okay? Make sure if you're turning in any papers, which this year it'll be to a minimum, but if you have anything to turn in or to send to me electronically, that's number 2. 3, tidy your workstation. Make sure you don't leave trash and stuff like that on the tables. And then please stay seated until the bell rings. Okay, this is the RCB, Simulated Workplace Employee Badge Station. And it is used, our Career Tech Ed classes, the CTE classes here at RCB. I am in the Business and Marketing Department, and if you're one of my students, then you are a student in the Business and Marketing Department. And we have what's called simulated workplaces. I'm not sure how that's going to work this year, but for all the other CTE programs like Ag and TV Broadcasting and Human Services, if they want to make badges for their students for their simulated workplace, this is where they come to do it. And my digital imaging students are the ones that take the pictures of them and create their badges. So, all right, going on around here. This is just a view of the room. There's some tables in the back that we have for different reasons sometimes, makeup tests and things like that. But basically, the room is a computer lab, okay? And it's a little shaky because I'm holding my phone. But I wanted to show you, this is my 80-inch view board, and I'm hoping that some of my video streams to you can be all at one time through this view board. But I'm not sure exactly which is going to be the best situation, whether we do a Zoom individual, or not a Zoom, but a Microsoft Teams meeting individually with the students, and you guys are on your own computer and you're seeing me, or if you would see me from coming in from this big computer up here. So we're just going to be flexible with that right now. We will see how it's going to work out. The first couple weeks of school, not everybody's going to be here every day anyway, so we may not get a whole lot done the first couple weeks. These are the printers, okay? And the thing at the bottom, you guys know what that's for. If you're a freshman, that's where we recycle paper. Any kind of paper, we put it in there in the blue bin. Okay, these are the closets in the classroom, okay, with the TV on top. The large cabinet on the left, this one is locked. This one is locked. That's because there's supplies in there and equipment in there that my digital imaging students need. This one on the bottom is open, and that's where you'll find the paper for the printer, right there. So if the printers run out of paper and you need paper, it's in this cabinet right here. Okay, there you see a cool image one of my students did with Photoshop a couple years ago. This is some 3D printed items that we made. Okay, and you can see here there are 2 3D printers in the classroom, and there's some work that former students have done. I need to update that. So hopefully my digital imaging students will be making me some cool things this year. Okay. Okay guys, this is the door in the back of the classroom. We're going to go through here. This is the business education office. It is used for several things. We also have some equipment back here that we use. My digital imaging students will do recordings, microphone recordings back here where it's quiet. And this door leads into Miss Allen's room. And she will be working with some of my students this year. God bless her soul. So here we are, we're going back into the room. And I just want to let you know, if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Hey guys, these are the emergency codes for the county. Trying to get it to where the glare isn't there. The first one is code red. That's the most dangerous. It's taken very seriously. All instruction stops. This front door right here will need closed immediately. It is always set to lock once it's closed. So still in the code red, teaching stops. Do not open the door for anyone. Also cover, you can pull down the blinds on the windows if needed. Usually that's not needed, but it is needed that you remain quiet. The code yellow, student instructions, you guys, instruction does continue. The teachers can still teach, but you do lock the doors, and then you listen for the code green. The blue is a medical emergency. Stay in your classrooms. It says to lock the door and sit and wait for instructions. Usually this is a medical emergency that is somewhere in the building. And by the way, the code yellow is a precautionary lockdown. That doesn't mean that there's an intruder in the building. It just means that there is a situation that they need the students to stay in their rooms. Okay, the code blue is a medical emergency. And that means that someone is having, could be an emotional or medical. Usually I think they're using code purple now for an emotional situation. But for code blue is the medical emergency. Code orange is an evacuation. That's if something happened in the school that students had to leave the building, they would call a code orange. And we would evacuate to somewhere within, at a minimum of 300 feet away from the school, and that would be the football field. Teachers do take attendance once they get over there. Code white is the weather, and for code white, normally we will go down, that's a weather emergency, tornado, hurricane, something like that. Luckily, we have not had any true code whites that I can remember here, but for a code white drill, you will go down to the first floor, you will line up against the lockers, and you'll stay away from any windows. Don't be near any windows. And you guys will close the doors at the end of the hallways, and there's some doors out here as well. So then you would be safe from any flying glass that would be flying there. Okay, the code green is the all clear, but there's one thing about the code green. If it is Mr. Davis, for example, who calls a code yellow or a code red, then it has to be Mr. Davis who calls off the code yellow or the code red. And how they do this is the same administrator that calls the code is the one that has to give the all clear for the code. And usually they'll say it with voice recognition. So for example, if Mr. Gibson is the one that calls a code yellow, then Mr. Gibson should also be the one that calls the all clear or the code green after the code yellow. So if Mr. Gibson is the one that called the code yellow, but Miss Looker is the one that says all clear for the code yellow, then you know something's not right. It needs to be the same administrator to call the code green, which is an all clear, as it is for the administrator that called the code. Okay. Okay, so now you've seen the classroom. I've told you about the fire drills and the codes and some of the other normal opening day items, such as your schedule and things of that nature. So now our year is going to begin. I ask you to be flexible and patient with me, and I will be flexible and patient with you. This is unprecedented. We have never been forced to do what we are doing in the way that we are doing it. So I ask you again to be patient with me, since I'm not going to be in the classroom with you. This is going to be very different, But as I said before, I'm hoping that it will feel somewhat the same. Okay, your first assignment is in live grades. So that's what I want you to do for this first week. Just watch these videos, and I want you to log on to your computer, make sure you're getting in okay. I'm going to be sending everybody some information through live grades that I want you to look at for the first week. And then for the second week, we will probably move to Schoology at that point. Okay, my email is gnewellon@k12.wv.us. If you have any questions, please just send me an email. But check your live grades for your work this week, and then next week we will start in Schoology. Thank you.